Hey folks, I'm Dennis. Thanks for watching. I've been looking for a cordless soldering iron. I found this Schneider butane powered soldering iron on Harbor Freight's website. Ordered one, it was about $20, and I've gotten it, and I've gotten a can of butane, so I'm going to open it up, try it out, and see how well it works. So they advertise it as a cordless soldering iron, micro torch, and a hot blower. It looks pretty straightforward, so I'm going to get it out of this package. Cut it already, just got to remember where I cut it. There we go. Get all that out of the way. So the one thing I'm already not sure of is I think this is for the blower. If you take this off and use the flame, and then it gives you like a concentrated hot air column, but I don't know if that's true, and that's plastic, so I don't know if I want to trust that. So somebody else can, if they've gotten one and try that. I'm not going to try it as a blower because I'm afraid it's going to melt, and I don't want to stink up my house. But so that's how it's built as a soldering iron, and then you can take the tip off. The tip just comes out of this cap, and you put that back on, and then it works as a torch. So that's kind of nice for doing heat shrink, or if you've got to heat something up, you know, whatever. Anyway, that part's pretty cool. I'm mostly interested in it as a cordless soldering iron because a lot of times if I'm like working on a car or the motorcycle, four-wheel or something like that, I need to do some soldering, and I don't want to have to drag a extension cord along with a corded soldering iron out there. So it's got a continuous selector if you want to keep the flame on all the time, where you can turn that off and on. It's got a height control on the flame, which is a little hidden, but it's got marks on here that'll show you that's less flame and that's more flame for heat. And okay, so that's how you do it. So if it's to start it, I don't have any butane in it right now. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But to start it, you press this safety and pull that back, and what that does is it gives you a spark to ignite the flame. And then you can either hold it on, or if you want it to stay on continuous, I suppose you put it, I think that's how that's going to work. Yeah, you can. Then you can just lock it on with the continuous, and it'll stay on till you're done. And then when you flip that off, then it releases the trigger. It's got a port here in the bottom to put butane in it. These butane canisters, when you get them, they've just got a little skinny nozzle on them. Normally you hold your butane can upside down to fill something up. Yeah, that's right, because you want to get liquid. Now, my experience with anything that fills with butane, I don't know about y'all, but my experience with just about anything is it usually makes a mess. The good thing is that it evaporates quickly, but we'll see how this does. So you just put your nozzle on that little, I don't know if you can see that or not, there's a real small little port in the middle of that, and that's what the tip on your butane can goes on. Okay, so that's what it's doing, is it fills up quickly. Obviously once it's full, it starts spitting out of there, but it'll evaporate real fast. You want to make sure the butane's evaporated before you light it, but then you just press that down, light it. You can hear it burning. I don't know if you can with the camera, but I can hear it burning. If I let go of it, it stops. So I'm going to light it and lock it on continuous to let that tip get hot. And get some solder. And then if you're soldering, the first thing you want to do is on any new soldering iron is you want to tin the tip. See, I can feel the heat coming off that. You can see it getting, I don't know if you can, but I can see it through the vent port there getting hot. And yeah, it's already hot enough to melt solder. So I'm going to tin the tip. You want to use rosin cord solder if you're soldering electronics. Get a good bit of that on the tip. My habit is to take a rag, carefully wipe that off, and then your tip should be, some people use like a moistened sponge, whatever, you can use what you want, or they'll use like a brass, like a Brillo looking thing. That's also good for cleaning your tip. You may have to do it once or twice to tin it, but that's melting solder great. This will be fantastic for soldering outside. You can take that now, you can hold it all the way down to the plastic, it's fine. And when you're done, just flip it off, and then obviously be careful, it's going to be really hot. I'm going to let it cool off a minute, and then we'll see how it does as a torch, as a micro torch. All right, now I'm going to take the soldering tip off of it. It's still a little warm, but it should be fine. We'll take the soldering tip off of it, being careful. I'm going to set it on, took the soldering tip out of it, and we'll put this back on. Start it back up. I'm not sure if you can see that flame or not. Let me turn the light off, maybe that'll help. So you can kind of see that flame. I ran it about 30 seconds as a soldering iron, something like that, maybe 45. So I'm just going to let this set here on high. I want to see how long it'll burn on high with a full charge of butane. So I'll come back when it's nearly done. It's been burning continuously now for 6.5 minutes. The flame is starting to die off, so I think it's just about to run out of fuel. Coming up on 7 minutes. So that's not too bad in my opinion, because it clearly didn't take a whole lot of fuel to fill it up. So I think you'd get a lot of uses out of one of these cans. Yeah, it just died off at 7 minutes and 15 seconds. I used it for about 45 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, I guess, as a soldering iron. So let's just say for round figures about 8 minutes on high. So if you don't run it on high, it's going to get longer than that. I don't know if you can order this stuff online. I'll look and see. If you can, I'll put a link below also. But I picked mine up at the local hardware store. One thing to note, when you're soldering, there's an exhaust hole in the soldering tip. You want that facing up. However you're holding the soldering iron, you want with that tip on there, you want that exhaust hole facing up. I think that just keeps it from overheating. Another nice feature is this tip. It doesn't come with any extra tips, but I'm sure you can probably order them. But this tip is replaceable. It just screws out and you can replace the tip. They might even have different type of tips, different shapes or whatever you can put on here, but tips last a long time, but if you need to replace it, it's good to know they can be replaced. So yeah, that's the only other thing. Like I say, I don't know if, I'm assuming this is like the blower attachment. I just don't want to try it because I don't want this plastic to melt, and the instructions are not very clear on how to use it as a blower. I don't really know what I would use it as a blower for anyway. Possibly heat shrink, but I'm probably just going to use the torch if I'm doing heat shrink. Anyway, I got mine at Harbor Freight. Like I said, I think it was 20 bucks. The butane cost me, I don't know, seemed like it was $4 or $5. So I'm going to be pretty happy with that. I think it's going to work like a champ. As always, I appreciate you watching my videos. Give me a thumbs up if you would. Subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you back soon, and may God bless you.